My name is Ivan Varai Santos. I am currently the department chair of our Ethnic Studies department. I'm also the coordinator for the Ethnic Studies and Social Justice Academy. Within those two roles, I teach Asian American Studies. I teach Filipino Heritage Studies, which is now called Filipinx Heritage Studies. And I also teach U.S. History, Econ, and Government within the Ethnic Studies and Social Justice Academy. I want to go ahead and share with you a few things very specifically about ethnic studies education. First and foremost, at James Logan High School, we are still the longest standing ethnic studies department in the nation at the high school level. I believe we still are the only high school that has a full department that offers upwards of 10 different courses for our students. And so the biggest parts, the biggest concepts that we try to educate our students in and get them to understand within our discipline is a holistic humanization, right? We want to make sure that the education that students are getting in any of our courses is a humanizing, that it centers them, that it creates a situation in which the students are valued much more than the content that itself. Because at the end of the day, we're not necessarily about just teaching the content, but we're serving students. Right? We're trying to create fully realized human beings. And so through that humanizing aspect of our curriculum, we also want to be able to develop their relationship with education and to strengthen that education, that relationship with education so that they become lifelong learners, right? And so hopefully with their love for education and learning, that they develop that critical consciousness that allows them to understand the things that are going on around them, obviously through taking a look at the history that they get from our social science courses, and also taking a look at the written word and the culture that they would be getting from our English language arts classes. And so hopefully the idea is that they become agents of positive social change, right? Because it is taught with an ethnic studies and social justice perspective. It definitely brings in approaches from a bunch of different disciplines. We bring in the arts, we bring in sociology and psychology, right? Even anthropology. So we take a look at the education and we offer a more well-rounded view of education for our students. And before I go on to the next piece and talking a lot more about our major concepts and principles that we try to provide for our students, I'm going to go ahead and play this video that clearly represents our ethnic studies department. They actually fought for.
It's a sacred space, a place of solidarity, self-empowerment, and self-love.
Equity,
truth,
exploring identity, social justice, and current events.
transformative,
diversity and inclusion,
love,
grace,
decolonize,
bringing forward the narratives of people of color,
how to be responsive to the world around them critically, and empowerment through social justice advocated curriculum.
It's important for young people to find out the history of their families, find out the history of their people. And if we look at our current situation, if we focus on what's really going on, that we as a community, we as people can come together and make the change ourselves.
I am ethnic studies.
I am ethnic studies.
I am ethnic studies.
I'm ethnic studies.
I am 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 ethnic studies.
And so with regards to the education and the pedagogy that we offer, we're not about the traditional form of education by any means. We definitely like to push the envelope and really try to give our students an approach to education that allows them to put the concepts and the theory into action, right? We definitely want to get them to know and understand what praxis is. Traditionally, with a whole lot of schooling, whether you're taking a look at, social science or even English, A lot of the traditional forms of education is that the old school banking type of education that the students read, they listen, they memorize, and then they regurgitate it. With what we do within the Ethnic Studies and Social Justice Academy, we really try to get the students to understand how to be critical thinkers, but at the same time, problem solvers. A lot of our tests aren't, your written tests. They're not fill in the bubble Scantron tests, but they're more so project based. Right? We definitely allow our students to take a look at a lot of different issues and concepts and problems in the world, and really try to imagine different kinds of solutions rather than just memorizing dates and names. We definitely allow them to act upon what they learn. Right? And so these are the guiding principles, values, and outcomes of all ethnic studies and social justice education. Right, we definitely want to cultivate community, celebrate the narratives of communities of color and their ancestry. Like I was saying earlier, we want to center and place high value on the knowledge that comes from the families and the ancestry. Right, we want to give respect to every single person and every single belief system that comes through our classroom. So students are able to connect with one another, not only through their own experiences, but through their past and through their ancestry, but also taking a look at movements that struggle for social justice, right? To really understand different communities, different cultures, so we can really understand what it means to be a part of a real democracy. And so in our coursework, we definitely challenge and critique all the things that have happened all throughout history. We want to decolonize our education and really move past the idea that you have to assimilate to a very specific identity in this country, but more so, we want to make sure that the students, their families, and their community are centered in their experience. So we definitely critique a lot of the isms that are there in society. We critique a lot of the ills. We critique a lot of the mistakes that our communities might have made in the past, and conceptualize and really try to imagine new possibilities for our students, their families, and their community at large.
So the framework of the Ethnic Studies Social Justice Academy is as follows on the screen. Our mission is definitely to empower our students to make impactful changes in their communities and to develop leaders and lifelong learners. We are a 3-year program in which our students are introduced to the Academy during the end of their freshman year. They have the choice to show their interest and apply into our Academy. Unfortunately, we only have room for about 35 to 40 students for each cohort. So that means depending on how many people are interested and want to interview, unfortunately, we'll definitely have to make cuts. This year, we are doing interviews at the end of February and into the beginning of March, in which we are definitely looking at upwards of 60 to 80 people that we'd have to go ahead and interview. And so next year's sophomore class is coming from this year's freshman class. And as they enter the academy as 10th graders, they will be introduced to our pedagogy in their world studies classes and in English too. And our focus very specifically is to introduce them to our concepts of identity, activism, organizing, and praxis. And so as we walk through the rest of this presentation, I definitely am going to be going over the 10th grade experience, the 11th grade experience, and the 12th grade experience. And with regards to each class, you'll be introduced to different facets of how our academy will function. And so starting with the 10th graders, right, our class of 2024 are sophomores, and obviously next year our sophomores will be the class of 2025. Their focus is basically going to be a jumping off point from the foundation they gained as freshmen in our ethnic studies elective classes. And so the 10th grade year for the sophomores will definitely focus on working off of that foundation of identity, understanding common struggles, systems of oppression, the social constructions of race, class, and gender, to go ahead and build that base and knowledge of self, community, and social justice to really begin to understand their experience and their place in society in this world. And so a whole lot of everything they do is to understand who they are in the eyes of society, but actually really understand the intersectionality of their identity, all the different parts of who they are as they bump up against the different systems in this world. And so the hope is that with their understanding their sophomore year of who they are and their place in this world, that their junior year, they are introduced to a different perspective of US history. When I say a different perspective, I'm talking about a perspective that is wider than the textbook normally uses. We definitely want to, again, center the experiences of our students, their families, their ancestors, and their community. And so all the different experiences, all the different perspectives are going to be brought into the classroom via the students themselves. The extra research that they do, the experiences and the stories of their families and their communities are definitely going to be part of the curriculum in US history, as well as American literature class. Right. And so as we focus on identity sophomore year, junior year, the idea is to take a step up and turn that knowledge into activism and organizing. The way we see organizing within the academy is to really not only educate themselves, but learn how to educate other people in the classroom, other people on campus, and other people within the community with the hopes of getting them to another level of consciousness, right? In order to allow them to actually want to take action on very specific issues that they themselves as students and as a student community will be choosing. So if you can see here, it says Academy students will focus on solidarity and collective action through their 11th grade year. Building on the work from the previous year, students learn the basics of activism and organizing, movement building, and campaign development. Over the course of the year, students work as a class to conduct a needs assessment and develop a focus for a year-long campaign they will run their senior year. And so last year, our class of 2023 developed a zine that really focused on their identity and focused on the issues that are most important to them. And so this year, they're definitely taking that to heart and moving forward with it. And this semester, the campaigns that they're choosing to run are all educational campaigns. They've picked 5 issues that include mental health on campus, that include racism and prejudice in the community. And also they're definitely tackling the idea of resources for first generation students that will be going to college, right? Students that will be the first in their families to be going to college. And so our juniors are doing research, making connections with different resources, both at Logan and in the community, to help a lot of our students who are going to be first generation college students and their families, so they're better able to understand what they're going to be experiencing, and so that they're better able to make better decisions for themselves on their pathway to success, right? And so from junior year, right, you really talk about education and moving towards action, and then senior year is basically where you put it all together. Senior year, they'll be taking ESSJ government and economics. They'll also be taking a world literature class. And in those 2 classes, actually technically 3 classes, the students will be putting all the theory that they learned from sophomore year and junior year into action. If you take a look, it says that our senior focus is to mobilize, right? And turning all that theory into practice, right? Which is what we call praxis. So the focus of the 12th grade year for our academy students is self-determination and critical consciousness, and really bringing everything they've learned, all the experiences together. And so senior year requires all of the students together to conduct independent research projects and focus on an issue of their choice. This semester, just to finish out their experience with the academy, our seniors are actually trying to create a larger organization at James Logan High School that will unite the student body more so than just the clubs and the organizations that exist. Their goal is to create an umbrella organization to really make the school student body a united voice. And so they definitely want to make sure that all the different pieces of Logan, all the different communities that are represented at Logan are heard and have a voice, while at the same time are able to use that voice to really inform administrators and adults on and around campus about what issues they see from a student perspective, so that we really bridge a lot of the gaps and miscommunications that take place on a seemingly regular basis on a lot of school campuses across the nation. And so the seniors this year are definitely taking it amongst themselves to make things better for the future of Logan, to really allow future students and the student body at Logan to understand one another, to build bridges, to build solidarity and strengthen relationships they have across the different cultures, across the different interest groups, and across the different communities that are represented at Logan. And so through our curriculum, it definitely is project-based learning. Our curriculum and our pedagogy definitely is about taking action and allowing the young people to really make an impact in their local community. And so with everything that we do in the 3 years in ESSJ, the students definitely experience a rigorous level of coursework, right? It's not the traditional banking style of education like what we were talking about before. Students aren't just reading, memorizing, listening, memorizing, and then regurgitating things onto a piece of paper or a document, but they're actually really analyzing, understanding, and then creating solutions to problems and issues that they see and face on a regular basis. And because of our pedagogy, because of our approach, San Francisco State University was actually able to accredit our curriculum and allow us 3 semester units of college credit for all of our students who pass our senior classes with a B- or higher. So if they pass government with a B- or higher, and if they pass economics with a B- or higher, they will be able to earn upwards of 6 units of ethnic studies credit but from San Francisco State University. So technically half of their coursework within ESSJ is technically college work. It's college level work. And what's cool for a lot of the students to be able to say is during their senior year, they're also SF State students. So they are definitely seen as college students. They get SFSU IDs, and they will be able to get transcripts from SF State to transfer over units to whatever college or university they attend after Logan. Okay, and so I just want to go through a little bit of our experience. We definitely have a family centered experience. We have what we call our families within our own experience at Logan. We split up every single class and put them in groups of mixed levels, right? We have maybe 3 or 4 seniors, 3 or 4 juniors, 3 or 4 sophomores, all put into one group that they call families. And this is to really instill a support system and a network for all the students to be able to work with one another, support one another, and really allow the upperclassmen to show the underclassmen the ropes of Logan and to really help them towards a pathway of success. And so we have a lot of activities. We host a lot of events on campus. Our major theme this year, because of the pandemic and coming out of the pandemic and quarantine, was to really inject some positivity and life into Logan. A lot of our students came back from quarantine just really out of it. Mental health wasn't in the best place. And a lot of our students didn't see a lot of fun, didn't see a lot of positivity on campus, because a whole lot of them and their peers really dreaded kind of being put back in to the situation, and a lot of the classes really just going full steam ahead, and not really focusing on mental health. So the students took it upon themselves to really have fun and take advantage of the situation that they were in, and really provide some fun activities, celebratory activities, but at the same time, educational activities to allow themselves some fun. So some of these videos that you're seeing are ways that students created some joy, created some fun, enjoyed one another. There's some pictures and videos of adults, teachers, and even some of our administrators that participated in activities to bring a little bit of excitement and joy. If you see this picture in the middle, it's actually our principal, Ron Polk, participated in kind of a mental wellness activity that some of our juniors and seniors put together. and it was a pie toss. We had a lot of teachers and some administrators volunteer to be the targets right before first semester finals during lunchtime, and allowed students in a fun way to just let off some steam. So we volunteered to take one for the Logan family, and became targets for them. And it was fun time for the students. The teachers were good sports about it. The administrators, and obviously Mr. Polk was a good sport about it. And like I said earlier, took one for the team just to bring some joy and some laughter for the Logan community. And so I'm just really going to go through a sample of the lessons and some of the curriculum that we've talked about in our classes. We definitely talk about race within our institutions and in the United States, especially since the past handful of years have been so tumultuous. And even with regards to the Black Lives Matter movement, we definitely wanted our students in the community to understand what it really was and what it was about, to the extent that we even talked about the ideas of anti-Blackness within people of color communities, right? Ideas like colonial mentality, the model minority myth, and really allowing students to understand what they're seeing and what they're hearing in the media. So definitely last year while we were in quarantine, we saw that Breonna Taylor, George Floyd, amongst the other names that we saw all in the media, all in the news, were something to be talked about. And we definitely wanted folks to be educated about the issues, to the extent that if they wanted to take action, we always created opportunities for them to be able to go ahead and do that. We talked about history with regards to folks of color. We talk about the Rainbow Coalition, the Black Panther Party, and the different perspectives with which academia, the media, and even the government had seen the Black Panther Party. And we allow our students to really create their own opinions about organizations like the Rainbow Coalition, to bring together different communities of color, different working class up to middle class communities to really fight for justice, right? And so a lot of our students, specifically in the US history class, understand what it means to really come together in solidarity to fight for justice. We also focus on mental health in all of our classes. We allow students to really understand what anxiety is and the importance of rest, especially with regards to everything that's been going on with the pandemic, and understanding the idea of mental health, wellness, and the importance of rest in our society. Allowing yourself to rest is definitely a revolutionary and a radical thing, because so many pieces of our lives really just stress productivity and work, but a lot of times we aren't really taught to take time for ourselves to really rest. Within our mental wellness and mental health curriculum, we definitely talk about self-care, we talk about self-love, just because there's so many different pressures that a lot of our young people feel on campus, off campus, and different pressures through the media that they engage with on a daily basis. We try to stay involved in a lot of community. We pay respect to a lot of our teachers, our administrators in the school community. We have been able to participate in a lot of panels with the California Teachers Association. We've participated in panel discussions and workshops with some of the foremost professors in ethnic studies, coming from the UC system, the private system, and also the California State University system. We've had students and even some of our teachers participate in panels talking about the importance of ethnic studies education. And so we are definitely involved in a lot of conversations about education and furthering ethnic studies and social justice education within the Bay Area, if not California, and even nationwide. We had been involved in community organizing to talk about issues of race and even hate within the local community. So we participated in, an action out in the community that addressed hate, that addressed prejudice and racism, to really allow our BIPOC community here in the local community to feel safer, to feel like they were supported and that they were not targets. And so with regards to the Ethnic Studies Social Justice Academy, currently we definitely are in the recruitment mode. I hope I was able to give you a good summary of what your students are participating in and have been participating in, if not this year or over the past couple of years. If you have any questions, please feel free to email me at isantos@nhusd.k12.ca.us. Please visit our website at www.jlhs-essj.org. And if you know of any freshmen or even sophomores of your friends or extended family, have them think about applying for our academy so that they can really see and experience what your students have been experiencing right now. So thank you for your time. I really appreciate it. I hope you have a great evening.